So starting off where we left off from before, in the last part, we were talking about the pitch, and we were going through this example with BMW. And again, there's some key things to kind of point out here. The first line, for people who like to drive performance-oriented vehicles. Remember that your target customer is a person. It's not a marketing department. It's not a company. It's not for businesses who want. It's for a person, right? Income to end, somebody has to sign a document that says, yes, we will make this purchase, or has to hand you money. And that is usually a person, not a computer that's randomly buying things, right? Or a division of a company. Yes, it's probably for that group of people, but remember, it is for a person. So target your pitch for a person. And also, your pitch can change, your product pitch can change for the different features that you have. So again, we don't have time to go into all the different issues behind the pitch, but we want you to practice this pitch. Maybe use it today at the end of your rapid innovation cycle to promptly explain your idea and your concept, and hopefully something that you've prototyped in this short period of time that we're going to offer in the last hour to prototype something. So practice it. If you do it well, I think it's going to get you around a minute worth of time. And again, they call these the elevator pitch, because if you're sharing the elevator with Vinod Khosla, or you're sharing the elevator with some other big VC or someone, an angel investor, you need to convince them very quickly that what you're offering is interesting and potentially a viable investment. And if you waste the first minute of their time with you talking about other things that are not important, they will not continue to listen to you. They will walk away. And I've been the victim of this, and I've also taken advantage of the pitch and used it for that reason, and was successful in convincing people to listen or to get a follow-up interview or whatever. So definitely practice it. Hopefully it's something that you can use now for the future. So that's the pitch. And so let's talk about rapid prototyping. Again, we're going to talk about ways to basically rapid prototype all sorts of things, but really we're going to focus on drawing, foam core, cut, paste, tape, etc. That you can do. You'll do it here today in the second hour. So what I say is typically there's 3 potential phases of prototyping in different speeds, right? So this slide, be a prototyping MacGyver, is saying, what can you do right this second? What can you do in this hour? Or the 20 minutes that you'll have here in the future or very near future to prototype an idea today, right? What is in your backpack? What could you use that's in this room? What could you steal from a friend? No, I don't recommend stealing. No, what could you do in this room with the resources you have to prototype your idea, right? And most of the time you'll probably be doing this in an office environment where you want to show your boss this new solution you have for these sets of customers or whatever, or maybe you're you're at home, right? And maybe you have a more resource friendly home. Maybe you have a workshop at your house and you can be more creative and you have more tools at your disposal for prototyping. But let's just imagine you have what's in your backpack or what's in this room. And that's going to be like office supplies, pencils, paper, foam core, cereal boxes, what's at your disposal. And how can you use that to demonstrate your idea? So MacGyver, as you're aware of, I think in this country as well as we are in the United States, was the man. He would solve all sorts of crazy problems using all sorts of unique resources and things that would surprise you. Chewing gum to fix a leak, are some of the cliche ones, or putting a newspaper underneath a wobbly table at a coffee shop, right? These are all solutions to problems that need fixing, right? And again, you have to be creative in how you create those environments. Another really cool solution I saw was sort of in lines with my Buddy Gripper product, which was a cup that was torn up from an airplane. My friend of mine wanted to watch a video on the airplane, but he didn't want to have to hold his iPod the whole time. So he took a cup, right? This is a paper cup or a styrofoam cup from the airplane, right? United Airways or United Airlines. And so what he did is he tore this cup here and here. So he tore these pieces, and so then it looked like this, actually. if I can draw this correctly, there's a little lip, and I think it went higher here. This is the other end of the cup, and then it came down. And so now he has this cup, which is torn, but now his iPhone could sit right in this little crevice, right? And I think he did the angle better or whatever. You know, I just recommend buying a buddy gripper, right? So this product is or this idea is great, but right, so you could do that, right? And now you have your iPod, and you don't have to hold it anymore, and it's on the table on your tray table. So again, you have to be innovative. You have to think within your resources, within your constraints, and again, you know, most people are like, well, you know, if I had a machine shop, I'd do this. If I had these tools, I'd do that. Well, you don't always have that, and actually you come up with creative solutions this way. So just like the buddy gripper thing, I went to the first hardware store I found a bathroom suction cup, and you know, and then I just tested the suction cup, and it worked just fine. So again, you have to validate your idea, your product, with whatever you have in front of you. So going back to constraints, right? Like MacGyver definitely had constraints, just like we do with entrepreneurship. He had a time constraint, right? You know, he was typically fighting a room filling up with water, or he was, you know, something was going to blow up next to him. Also, he lacked tools, right? He didn't have all the tools at his disposal. He was, you know, probably handcuffed, so he didn't even have his hands, like the basic essentials that we all take for granted, having our hands or our feet, or the ability to speak, right? Like, these are all things we take for granted. So he was typically without those resources. So what do you do in that situation? And then he was always fighting thugs and people that wanted to kill him. So again, he had to do things in top secret environments. So, you know, we have similar constraints. We're always in a racing against time. We always have competition. Maybe they're not, you know, actually shooting bullets at you, but there's, you know, they're out innovating you and your company, or they're taking stabs at your technology, saying your technology is inferior compared to theirs. So again, these are sort of threatening, but again, we have to work within these constraints, but always be willing to use what you have in the moment. Igor's talk on effectuation really embraces that experience, right? Really doesn't go into all sorts of planning necessarily. It goes into what do you have at your disposal. So hopefully we've equipped you to feel like you can do stuff along those lines. So this is what can be done with foam core. Again, those of you watching the webcast, I just encourage you to go towards YouTube right now and search Miles and Charles Stanford ME101 DP2 Rube Goldberg Run number 1, and you'll find this video that we're going to play right now. And it might run slowly because I'm uploading a video, but we'll see.
Try number 6.
So there you have it, right? So that was all done with foam core, tape, probably some rubber bands, and maybe some other pieces of office equipment. But I think the whole design challenge for that class, and my colleague with Hands-On Rapid Innovation, Mr. Walter Foxworth, I'm sure would be happy to answer an email about the design constraints. But I don't think they're allowed to use any tools. They have to just use scissors, you know, paper, tape, glue, rubber bands, things you would find in the standard sale section of your local papeleria, or you know, an Office Depot or something like that. So that's pretty cool, pretty amazing what you can do with that. Again, you know, be creative, right? This young little guy here was able to create a cool little car for whatever Halloween party he went to, just using a little bit of string, a cardboard box, and some paper wheels, right? So yeah, that's great. I mean, cost effective, obviously, and again, maybe you don't need it to model a car, but maybe you want to model a new door for a car, or maybe you want to design a new, looks like kids obviously want flames coming out of their cars, so maybe there's some sort of thing maybe you're the designer for the Power Wheels, big wheels cars for kids in the United States. And that it's obvious that, you know, they want flames coming up the back. So again, I know these sound like really, how can I put it? They're sort of out there ideas, but you never know what people buy. Look at some of the things that are on the shelves these days, and and they're pretty crazy. Here's another video from the MIT D Lab, and this is basically just to show how you can illustrate mechanisms with cardboard as well. And again, with a couple pins and cardboard and some scissors, I'm sure you can make these mechanisms. Now, I'm not quite sure what this student is trying to do with this mechanism. It says something about kinetic name tag prototype, which doesn't give me a huge vision into what he was trying to do. It looks like there's another link here, but again, it's not important. I just want to show you that you can make a mechanism and prototype it. It may be a complicated mechanism that does some other feature, like latches a window, or it closes a door, or it does something else. But again, it's again, you have to prototype these things to really get a feeling if what you're trying to do is possible and it makes sense. So, but Chris, you say, you know, this may not work for everybody and for every idea, and that's very true. Not all ideas are a physical concept. So maybe you have to define a service, right? So you can define a service, and maybe that service is done through a poster, right? I mean, we're not, granted, it's definitely not the experience that any customer is going to feel, probably. You know, a customer wants to go through the process of learning about your service through maybe a website or whatever, but at the very least you could pitch a process through a poster and show the opportunity through a poster. Again, it's what you have to work with. Also, so that's a poster style. We do this a lot with research. Again, they are useful for some things and for maybe getting a follow-on meeting or a job, or selling a technology to a company, but it's not, this does not really give you great market data in terms of what people will pay for this product. So again, if you can't physically make it, you can act out the pain or make a demo video. You know, your iPhones today are so powerful to create quick little videos. Go to buddygripper.com and go to our video section. You'll see every single video that was made with my iPod, and every steady shot you've seen really comes from the prototype, the Buddy Gripper itself and the tripod legs. So again, that's videos are easy today. I know they may not feel like it, but they're very, very easy, and I can show you how to do that if you have questions. Or make a web page that demonstrates your service. Also, an iPhone or an Android app can also be prototyped, and also a web page, right? If you're familiar with PowerPoint and you can make slides, right? Those could be viewed as different web pages within one website, and you can create boxes with the rectangle tool, and you can hit Control-K, and that will allow you to define a link to another page within your PowerPoint, right? So go download an image of a iPhone screen, and then you define your user experience that way, right? And you don't have to have a Mac, you don't have to have, you know, any programming skills, you don't have to have all these things. You can still demonstrate your concept to maybe convince someone, a developer or a web designer, whoever, to join your team to do these things. So again, that I call this, and many others call this, PowerPoint engineering, again. But the bottom line with all these things is to be creative, be silly, don't have any idea limits, always filter later, and ask silly questions. Be like, well, what if we did this? Or why can't we do that, right? It's really a frame of mind. If you're always like, well, we can't do this because of, and no, I can't do that because of, that's not really opening your mind to creativity and looking for innovative solutions, right? Well, maybe at this moment, if somebody calls me and says, hey Chris, I need you to do this while I'm giving this talk, yeah, I probably shouldn't walk out on all of you and stop doing this talk, but I could hire someone to do this for me, or I could send someone else out in this room to tell me to go and do or to go do this work that somebody's requested of me. There's these options. So again, never feel too limited. Always think about how you can do something, not why you can't. Again, that may open your life to some crazy, chaotic scenarios, but again, life's short, and it's better to lead a life, in my view, that's a little bit more chaotic and interesting, as opposed to, as Steve Jobs says, not bouncing against the walls. So now we're going to go into the most rapid innovation cycle ever, and I'm going to explain how it all works. So so thank you, and we'll save that for the next video part.